equality, equal opportunity in the matter of employment, abolition of untouchability, abolition of titles, freedom of speech, assembly, association, movement of residences, property, and freedom of profession, occupation, trade are privileged. And the most important is the right to life and liberty. During the preceding around 6 decades, the concept of human rights has assumed a global recognition. So, every country is subject to international scrutiny by the world body, which is human rights to life, which neither the existing parliament is functioning, nor the major political ruling party allowed its former parliament to function. Both these parties have adopted the principle of tit for any good deed out of them, especially those who won the elections while sitting in jails. Seminarians can win at the statutory level, possessing some academic qualifications and even superannuation for the politicians. Even the voters should possess a minimum matriculation qualification for eligibility to vote. The state legislatures are also not lagging behind. In the great state of Uttar Pradesh, a MLA on account of criminal charges by Srimati Maya Singh. The same person has been made a cabinet minister by the present chief minister. Here again, there is yet another well-known story about an alleged rapist come minister. Shri Amar Mani Tripaঠি's name is well known to all of us. The controversial
present on are violating human rights. I request Professor Riyaz Manjari to make his comment on this paper.
I don't want to encroach upon your time. What are the elements which impinge upon our security? And we have come to conclude that criminalization of politics is one of the strong elements which impinge on the security of the nation. In that sense, Mr. Sai has done very well. However, I would advise you that you should drop other reference, because then we got folks shifts to bring in under civilians and all that. So my advice is to revise the paper. Please confine to this criminalization aspect in all the judiciary, executive, politics, and then the focus would remain very good. Second point I wish to make here, we sometimes confuse Government of India and Indian state. Please keep in mind, everybody, that these are two different things. Governments come and go. We may kick them off, we may criticize them, no problem. But Indian state is something different. And this confusion is more prevalent in the jurisdictional state, where people start confusing the two. So therefore, especially for those who think, who belong to intelligentsia, who are from academia, while writing, thinking, reflecting, we should keep this distinction in view. We are talking and thinking of security issues because we have in mind Indian state, not Indian government. So, having said that, I compliment again Mr. Sai for
Thank you. Professor Saab making a special comment on this paper. Now I invite Dr. Santosh Kaur to present her paper.
Principals and distinguished guests. My paper which I am going to present today life, dignity and worth, essential for happy and prosperous life for all the people of the globe. Human rights for all have been recognized as one of the key objectives of a civilized life. The UN Charter represented a significant advancement by advocating a firm faith in respect for human rights of people of different communities. These rights are recognized as the common concerns of humanity as a whole. But since 1980, terrorism has been posing a big threat to the capability of humankind to keep the forces of violence, bloodshed, and destruction and death limited and under control. It has been adversely affecting the resources of power of the state, which are directly suffering due to the activities of foreign-based terrorist groups and cross-border terrorism, which has its roots and bases in a particular state but indulge in terrorist activities in neighboring states. And the state of Jammu and Kashmir is a worst-hit example of the same. A strong experience is to pen the feelings when the writer herself is a victim of human rights violation and is one among the lakhs of displaced persons living out of home. Kashmiri Pandits, the inhabitants of Kashmir, would have never imagined that they would be pushed out at gunpoint and stop us from dreaming, thinking and talking about our homeland. How can we forget Kashmir, which is not only a fabric?
And both government, the center and state government, have to work for their rehabilitation, original inhabitant of that area. Therefore, they should remember always, and they should hope that once they will go back to their homeland. Thank you very much.
The question of Kashmiri Buddhists has been discussed yesterday and today also. I would like to invite the attention of the distinguished audience to one or two important technicalities about this question. Number one is that the government calls them migrants. It's about the nomenclature. That's the first technical question. Now we have the migrants used by the government, by both state government and the central government. Number one. And some people call them migrants. Some call them refugees. And I and some of my friends who know the niceties and technicalities, including I think Professor Punjabi, we call them internally displaced persons. So I think that for the information of the distinguished audience here, according to the United Nations Human Rights Commission, and their definition of refugees and internally displaced and migrants, these are very sensitive, delicate, and technically complete definitions. Under this definition, the Pandits in the situation in which they have been placed fall under the category of internally displaced persons. That means they have left their places, but they are within the limits of their country. They have not crossed the borders of their country. So they are internally displaced persons. And migrants are those who migrate from one place to another place out of their free will, who can go and come back